Hi everyone, I am the Spiritual Seeker. I am an independent researcher, numerologist, and member of Black Space Azania. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel for more conversations and reflections inspired by the philosophy of Black consciousness. We previously went through the introduction to the book we are currently reading, Black Skin, White Mask, published in French in 1952 and translated into English in 1967. This edition was published in 2008 and also contains Homi K. Baba's 1986 foreword. In this episode, we look into the first chapter, The Negro and Language. In this chapter, Fanon's understanding of language goes beyond syntax and linguistic form, seeing it as a structure that supports the weight of civilization. As a consequence of colonial subjugation, Fanon recognizes that the black man has two dimensions, on a horizontal level with his fellows and on a vertical level with the white man. At the beginning of the chapter, Fanon points out that to speak is to exist completely for the other. In a sense, speaking always involves an audience. The moment you speak, you become visible to others. Your accent, grammar, and the manner in which you speak are interpreted as signs of education, class, race, intelligence, and belonging. This is language basically as a social act that turns you into an object of perception. Here is a quote from Fanon, open quote. Every colonized people, in other words, every people in whose soul an inferiority complex has been created by the death and burial of its local cultural originality, finds itself face to face with the language of the civilizing nation, that is, with the culture of the mother country, close quote. When we were reading Chabani Manganyi, we saw how he also discusses the same subject in the chapter, Who are the Urban Africans?, where he makes an analysis of Africans whose relations are largely in the urban areas rather than in the Bantustan homelands. He calls these Africans de-tribalized or transitional. It is these same Africans that Fanon has dedicated the chapter to, those who are in the liminal space between blackness and whiteness, whose renunciation of blackness promises progression into whiteness. He mentions this specifically with reference to the Negro of the Antilles and proposes a psychoanalytical approach to understanding this phenomenon. Fanon then turns to a critique of the very intellectual frameworks that often underpin the black man's pursuit of whiteness, rejecting the belief that liberation can be secured through appeals to education, reason, or philosophical recognition alone. He argues that such categories remain entangled within the structures that produce racial domination. It is in this context that he writes, open quote, when a Bachelor of Philosophy in the Antilles refuses to apply for certification as a teacher on the grounds of his color, I say that philosophy has never saved anyone. When someone else strives and strains to prove to me that black men are as intelligent as white men, I say that intelligence has never saved anyone. And that is true, for if philosophy and intelligence are evoked to proclaim the equality of men, they have also been employed to justify the extension of men, close quote. Overall, we have already seen that Fanon sees language as a structure that carries the weight of colonial civilization tied to authority and culture.